This is Stormwatch 2026, sponsored by these partners.
Another year, another hurricane season. 2025 didn't bring a Florida landfall. I know, the Q word, something we always try to avoid, but we absolutely should not let our guard down. But just remember, it only takes one. Florida's most accurate weather team is here, helping you prepare for anything this year may bring.
Uh-oh, we got a hurricane coming our way.
Yeah, we do prepare, actually. We make go bags.
This is Stormwatch 2026. How you doing, everybody? I'm Tampa Bay 28 Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips. Welcome to Stormwatch 2026. We are at the Pinellas County Emergency Operations Center, and this is where all the important decisions come into play. When they decide to evacuate, when they decide to change flood zones, and how they help you prepare for the hurricane season before, during, and after a storm. So tell us a little bit about the bunker that we're in, because this is pretty awesome.
This is awesome, right? This is a Cat 5 rated building. We've got generator backup. We've got potable water here. We've got multiple redundancies for communications. This building can hold over 200 people just in these rooms alone in the operations room. And this room was packed during Helene and Milton.
And unfortunately, 12 people died, drowned with Helene. And what we were hearing is from some of the folks is they just felt as though they didn't have a place to go, and that's just not the case.
No, we have resources in place, and I want everybody to have this be part of their plan. So you heard me talk about our special needs registry. So if you are elderly, you live alone, if you need assistance with activities of daily living, maybe you get Meals on Wheels, maybe you have to get transportation and even just go to doctor's office on a daily basis, be thinking, hey, maybe I'm going to need that assistance during a storm. So we will actually send transportation right to your door and pick you up. If you are on life-sustaining medical equipment, we'll make sure that we get you to a location that has backup generators, so that way if the power goes out, your medical equipment is not interrupted. If you need transportation, again, PSTA runs free rides. Uber did a great job. The state even brought down some additional buses. So be listening for those resources that are available. And then the other thing is our pets. We have so many people in our community that have furry family members, and we have pet-friendly shelters. So whether you're going to stay with a friend or you're going to go into a hotel, make sure that those are pet-friendly and they want to take your pets in. If not, we have free places for you to come and stay. So I never want anybody to think that we don't have resources for them. It's available, but you have to plan early, right? Because at some point when those winds get too high, those buses and all those transportation resources are going to shut down.
Much of the data we get for forecasts, like you see behind me, come from the hurricane hunters, and they fly right out of Lakeland. Tampa Bay 28's Chad Mills got a chance to go check out one of the oldest planes in the fleet, a 50-year-old hurricane hunter, and he got to check it out firsthand.
Decals on the side of this Hurricane Hunter plane show that lengthy legacy, starting in 1977 with two hurricanes then, to Francis in 2004, Jean that year as well, Hurricane Katrina in 2005, more recently Helene and Milton in 2024. Riding a roller coaster through a washing machine.
There's so much rain, it's so loud.
The eye of hurricane.
That's what it can feel like flying directly into a hurricane. And for 50 years, two iconic aircraft, nicknamed Kermit and Miss Piggy, have done exactly that, helping forecasters better predict where storms go next and how strong they'll be.
I love our paint scheme. It's very unique.
While the missions take crews across the Gulf and Atlantic, the people flying them are our neighbors with NOAA's Aircraft Operations Center based in Lakeland.
Here are the storms Miss Piggy has flown through.
During a recent stop in Sarasota, Commander Brett Copair gave us an up-close look at Miss Piggy, a Lockheed P-3 Orion and one of NOAA's legendary Hurricane Hunter aircraft, now marking 50 years in service.
The plane has been battle tested, storm tested. She keeps flying every storm, every series, every pass. She's just as good as she was 50 years ago.
And after half a century flying through storms, the outside of the aircraft hasn't changed much.
This equipment here is really vital to collecting data as we fly along our aircraft.
But inside, Commander Copair showed us how generations of technology upgrades have transformed the plane into a flying science lab.
It's invaluable data. There is nothing else like it.
The information collected during each flight, including wind speeds, pressure, humidity, and signs of rapid intensification, feeds directly into models used by meteorologists like Jennifer Hubbard.
Oh, it's super important, get to know what real-time information is happening with the storm.
But collecting that life-saving data means going where few pilots ever will.
And I just remember it was morning time, 2, 3 a.m. We get to the storm, and it was a relentless storm.
Copair says Hurricane Ian remains one of the most memorable flights of his career as the storm approached Florida's Gulf Coast.
It's about 6 hours of being strapped down, waiting for bumps that may or may not come. Sure. I'll always remember that flight, that day, that night, and that series.
And once one mission ends, another may be just hours away.
The one thing you want to do is get home, get in your bed, take a nap, because in about 12 hours you're doing it all over again.
So this is our newest airplane in the NOAA fleet.
And even after landfall, the work doesn't stop. Another NOAA crew based in Lakeland flies specialized missions over storm damage to take pictures of the damage, often within hours of impact.
And you get about a 7 centimeter per pixel resolution for this plane.
The high-res images help FEMA and first responders identify blocked roads, damaged neighborhoods, and areas needing urgent help. One of Lieutenant James Seibert's latest missions, flying over Jamaica hours after Hurricane Melissa last October.
We really saw firsthand the impact that our data was having.
All it takes is one bump.
For the NOAA flight team, hurricane season means long hours, dangerous missions, and flying toward storms.
It never gets old.
But they chase danger so others can avoid it.
Very rewarding work that we do.
For Tampa Bay 28, I'm Chad Mills reporting.
Coming up on Stormwatch 2026, we are hitting the streets, answering your questions on what you need to know this upcoming hurricane season. That's up next on Stormwatch 2026. It is weekend from Category 3.
The wind is still punishing. It's a gorgeous day, so we thought it would be appropriate to talk about hurricanes. I'm Paul Agrome. This is Your Voice. Tampa Bay 28 listens. Let's go. Oh, it's my guy. It's my guy. Hurricane season, all right? It's coming up, I know, right? It's coming up in June.
No.
What do you think about hurricane season? How are you getting ready?
Nightmares, no.
That's my favorite thing to do is walk and talk. All right, hurricane season, what are your thoughts when I tell you it starts June 1st?
It's going to be a quiet one.
Going to be a quiet one. I like that. You should go on Poly Market and make that bet. Hurricane season, June 1st. How do you stay safe? How do you get ready?
Buy beer. Yep, buy beer and call your friends and find out who has the biggest house.
How do you get ready for hurricane season?
Well, you make sure you have all your canned goods, food, enough non-perishable for 3 days, and also plenty of water, fresh water on hand.
I'd be a little nervous though.
Yeah.
He's a little nervous. He's walking away. He doesn't want to talk
You got PTSD. You sound like a veteran Floridian that's been through one of these before.
Yes, we have.
What's the difference between the tornado and a hurricane?
Hello. So a hurricane, you usually get like a few weeks notice, or maybe sometimes if it's in the Gulf, you get a week's notice. Hurricane season, we got to talk about. We're wearing the same glasses, kind of, sort of. It's a giant storm that spins counterclockwise.
How am I feeling about hurricane season coming up?
Category 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Category 5 is the strongest, 1's the weakest. Sometimes they're tropical storms, which is less than a Cat 1. Do you get nervous at all as June 1st approaches, or you just take it as it comes?
Take it as it comes, but be prepared helps relieve a lot of nerves and tension and stress.
A tornado can kind of spontaneously happen when you have a collision of cold air and warm air, and you don't get any notice at all. I mean, you literally get no notice other than conditions are ripe for tornadoes today, you know, meteorologists will say that. Do you get prepared for hurricane season, or do you get prepared when somebody comes on the air like Mr. Dennis Phillips and says, uh-oh, we got a hurricane coming our way?
Yeah, we do prepare actually. We make go bags. You should make go bags. Go online and see everything that you need to buy, because you never know when you might need to take one out. And be prepared. Be prepared. And even if you do spend a lot of money on preparation, you're probably gonna eat that food anyway. So make sure you get prepared.
Here it's more hurricanes, but at least you get a notice about it, and you can stock up on food and supplies and things like that.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I never known, so that's the difference.
Are hurricanes fun for you, nerve-wracking, or, you know, whatever?
The most nerve-wracking thing is we have a 70-pound English bulldog, and we live on the 24th floor.
Yeah.
And if we lose power,
yeah,
I have to carry him down all the
gotta
flights.
carry him. Do you think you'll be getting prepared? Like,
I would say yes.
well, here's hoping for a quiet year, my friend. Thanks for walking and talking with me. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Y'all take care. Have a good one.
For many of you, hurricane season is nothing new, but for me, I grew up in a small town called Sierra Vista, Arizona. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. It's not a whole lot of water in Arizona. So I didn't have the first idea what hurricane season was or what to do to get ready. But luckily for me, I work with these guys, and when they say year after year, build your hurricane kit, I can pull out my phone, text them anytime, and ask them what exactly is a hurricane kit. Now I'm gonna take that info from them, go shopping at a grocery store, and get you and me ready for hurricane season. So let's start with some of the big ones. First, water. Your body needs it. In a hurricane, so many people across the Tampa Bay area are going to be rushing to the store to get it too. So it doesn't hurt to stock up on a couple cases ahead of time to make sure you're not one of those rushing to the store. The usual number you want to shoot for is about a gallon a day per person for about 5 to 7 days. It doesn't hurt to grab more. I personally drink a ton of water, so it's definitely going to be stocked up. Now batteries. These fly off the shelves ahead of the storm, just like water, because people are wanting to stock up to make sure they have batteries for lamps, flashlights, bug lamps, whatever you need that's battery powered when your power goes out. These are going to come in handy. And don't forget a hand crank radio for your NOAA alerts ahead of the storm. All right, now let's cover food. I know if you were here during Hurricane Helene and Milton, you probably remember what happened, but if you don't, I was actually here the first few days after Hurricane Milton. I remember seeing all the food thrown out after the hurricane, so you want to make sure you're stocking up on non-perishables, things like canned tuna, canned salmon. All these things going to last you all season, going to do a whole lot better than dairy or fresh fruit, fresh things that you're going to have to throw out. Now let's talk essentials, things that might fly a little bit under the radar when we're talking toilet paper. If you come ahead of time, you could even get a deal, buy one, get one, or when you take a look at other things like trash bags or cleaning wipes. These are all things, again, going to fly off the shelves. You can get in advance, maybe even get a deal. And last but not least, it's not going to last long, but it's going to be good to have no matter what. Some extra ice in your freezer for when your power goes out. Now keep in mind, if you're buying for more than one person, this isn't going to be all that you need, and you're probably going to forget something. So it's a good idea, make a list. Feel free to copy ours that we're gonna have on TampaBay28.com. Full in-depth, everything you need. So head over there before you head out the door. Make sure you're prepared for hurricane season. In Tampa, I'm Blake Phillips, Tampa Bay 28.
Coming up next, meteorologist Greg D will have his details on why last year's hurricane season was so quiet.
Hello everybody, I'm meteorologist Greg D with a look back at the 2025 hurricane season. This is one that we went into expecting an above average season, but things didn't exactly work out that way. So here was the setup, 2025 season stats. At one point, NOAA was forecasting as many as potentially 19 named storms. Their range was 13 to 19. So technically we did make that range, but it was on the low end. There were 13 named storms in the Atlantic Basin. 5 of those went on to become hurricanes, 4 of which went on to be major hurricanes, a high number. Cat 5, there were 3 of them. That was unusual as well. There you see the tracks. Most of those out off the East Coast, and of course a big end to the season with Melissa down towards Jamaica. That was a huge impact as well. One of the reasons why the season ended up so quiet is that there was an unusual break. There were no storms from late August through the first half of September until Gabrielle formed on September 17th. When you look at those dates on the hurricane graph for the year, those were the dates when you're typically most likely to see a storm. In fact, between August through the late August and the first half of September, we expect several storms to form. With that break last year and losing those storms, it really brought the number of storms for the season way down. The weather setup for the season, area of high pressure out in the Atlantic, it was weaker than it typically is. That allowed a lot of the storms to stay off the East Coast. Had this high been stronger, it would have pushed the storms farther west toward Florida, the Western Caribbean, and potentially the Gulf. The other feature, this persistent trough in the East Coast. That's what weakened the high. That trough pushed all the storms away from Florida and up the East Coast. A lot of activity between Bermuda and the Carolinas, but not a lot. In fact, no hurricanes moved through the Gulf back in 2025, with just one tropical storm early in the season that was Barry. We'll continue to watch things as develop this season. Of course, the weather pattern around each storm really dictates where they go.
I think many of us, one of the most vivid memories from Hurricane Milton is the Trop losing its roof. And our Eric Waxler was right in the middle of it as it happened. Here's how he remembers it.
Opening day 2026. The Rays returned to Tropicana Field. A sold-out crowd came for a new season under a new roof.
Shout out to the city of St. Pete and all the Tampa Bay Rays fans for showing out for us for the first game after everything that the city been through.
But to get to this point was a wild ride no one could have predicted. Let's go back 561 days to October 9th, 2024.
I had just gotten a tip that something was up, so we came to the 5th floor balcony of the True Hilton Hotel, wind and rain at full blast, and that's when we got our first look at the destruction that was happening to Tropicana Field.
So let's go to Eric Waxler right now, and he is in St. Pete, and last I checked, we had 85-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and now they're even higher. Eric?
Yeah, Dennis, we have some unbelievable, something unbelievable to show you. This is Tropicana Field. The roof, a big portion of it, has ripped off.
Earlier in the day, I snapped a few pictures from the same vantage point, showing the Trop and some ominous-looking clouds. I even took a selfie at 4:23, which turned out to be one of the last pictures of the stadium with its original roof. Hours later, that roof was in tatters.
You wonder, the more the wind gets inside, if we'll see other parts of it blow off.
At this point, we were wondering just how extensive the damage was.
I have a good look at the base of the stadium, and I do not see any kind of structural damage as we feel these gusts coming.
The roof was a total loss, and the inside of the stadium suffered millions in damages too. The next morning, we walked around the stadium and found pieces of the covering everywhere. Some people grabbed them as souvenirs.
What are you going to do with that piece? Oh, hang it in my room.
We also got a look at the massive crane that crashed into a downtown office building a few blocks away.
St. Petersburg city leaders eventually decided to repair the Trop. We were there a year after as workers put on the new roof panels, one by one. I talked with people who live around the stadium, like Ladine Chavez.
So 1 year ago tonight, what do you remember?
Oh, actually coming outside and just seeing the roof completely gone. It was so sad, sad.
And Alexander Ehrenberg lives and works near the stadium.
So what happened was it was blown everywhere, right? You look at it and the whole roof and it's flapping and making noise and everyone's freaking out.
Once the new roof was finished, workers were able to focus on repairs inside. City leaders gave us a look at the progress in December.
Everything has been done with a lot of thought, a lot of effort, done correctly, working collaboratively with the Tampa Bay Rays, with Major League Baseball. And it hasn't been easy. I mean, there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of pushing and shoving and, giving and taking here.
And as promised, the stadium was ready for opening day. Total repair costs were about $60 million. In St. Petersburg, Eric Waxler, Tampa Bay 28.
In the event a storm does approach the Bay Area, evacuations may be needed. Coming up on Stormwatch 2026, what you need to know about changing evacuation zones and how to choose a shelter. Thanks for staying with us on Stormwatch 2026. I'm Tampa Bay 28 Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips, and we are at the EOC in Pinellas County, where literally hundreds of people are working here during a hurricane to help keep you and your family safe. And one of the biggest decisions they have to make, who evacuates, who doesn't. And our meteorologist, Allie Blake, has the latest on the changing evacuation areas.
I'm Tampa Bay 28 meteorologist Allie Blake. As we approach the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season, our absolute top priority is your safety. Over the last few years, we've watched intense storms bringing unprecedented rainfall, rising rivers, and severe inland flooding to our neighborhoods. Mother Nature is changing, and to protect our community, we have to change too. That's why Hillsborough County has officially redrawn and significantly expanded their hurricane evacuation zones. Now, every 3 to 5 years, NOAA updates its storm surge models, and Hillsborough County's emergency management team reviews every single property parcels in the county. But this year, they didn't just look at coastal storm surge. We looked at the critical lessons of past seasons, and we saw that hurricanes cause massive flooding miles away from the beaches. Officials also looked at search and rescue access. If a major road floods and blocks emergency vehicles, the surrounding neighborhood should be evacuated safely beforehand. Because of this, more properties than ever before are now included in evacuation zones, and many have been bumped to higher risk categories. Here's what you need to know about the new map right behind me of Hillsborough County. First, Zone A, or highest risk category, which is right here in red closest to the water, has been expanded further inland and along our entire coastline, which you can see that does include the Alafaya River and includes major expansions in areas right here like Apollo Beach, along with Town and Country, which you can see right here as we see the differences from 25 and 26, especially up here. As a reminder, all mobile and manufactured homes countywide remain in Zone A no matter where they're located. Second, Zone C, which is here in yellow, has pushed deeper into communities like Citrus Park and Palm River, shifting many homes out of Zone D and green and into this more vulnerable tier. And finally, some neighborhoods that used to be considered safe inland zones are now officially in Zone E, which is blue or purple. This includes parts of the new Tampa area and some of the surrounding communities like the Tampa Executive Airport and inland portions of Apollo Beach south of Big Bend Road, which you can see right here, and the biggest differences between each year.
In the case of an evacuation, sometimes you don't need to go hundreds of miles. You only have to go tens of miles to get away from the surge. But the question is, what do you do if you don't have a hotel? You may be forced to go to a public shelter. Our reporter Annette Gutierrez covers Wesley Chapel and the surrounding areas, and she has the latest on what you need to know on how to choose an evacuation route or a shelter.
Right now, Turner Bartell's K-8 school is just that, a school. But when a hurricane is on the way, it quickly becomes a lifeline for many. So I'm breaking down what you need to know before coming out to a Hillsborough County shelter. When a storm threatens, Hillsborough County opens shelters across the area, but not all at once. During Hurricane Milton, about 16 shelters were open.
We have a total of about 55 shelters. We don't typically activate that many.
When you arrive, you'll start by checking in, now through a digital system before being assigned your space. If you're in an area where you need to be evacuated, local officials say you should go tens of miles away, not hundreds of miles away, to stay with friends, or you can come out to a shelter, but they say this is a last resort because this is the space that you'll end up in.
We always say it's a lifeboat, not a cruise ship.
And space is tight, about 20 square feet per person, so packing light is key.
We're really looking at like a carry-on type of packing. It's like medications, important documents, identification, basic hygiene items.
Shelters provide free meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they're simple and meant to last.
These are cafeteria food at a school.
These green beds are set up at special needs shelters for people who rely on medical equipment like oxygen or power. Officials say shelters are a last resort, but Hurricane Helene in 2024 was a wake-up call.
Our first responders in Hillsborough County made over 1,000 water rescues, pulling people out of their homes or off of rooftops.
During Helene, rapid storm surge and flooding led to widespread 911 calls and dangerous conditions across Hillsborough County.
Sometimes it gets to a point where first responders are not able to come to you or your family if you decided not to leave. So it's best to just err on the side of caution.
And if you have nowhere else to go,
come to a shelter. It's a lot safer and a better option than staying at home and risking your safety.
If you're planning to evacuate with a pet, it's important to look up a pet-friendly shelter. However, if you have a service animal, those are welcome at any shelter.
We often talk about whether you should evacuate, whether you should stay. It's a really tough decision to help keep you and your family safe. But how do you prepare before you leave? Our investigative reporter, Susan Okori, has the latest.
Wind fanning flames as storm water surges.
Anybody in your house? Fire department!
There's no fighting, only searching for survivors. During Hurricane Helene, fires kept sparking as floodwaters hit lithium-ion batteries.
It's frustrating for us because we want to help.
It's a feeling Chief Robert Herron hates.
We're sitting there watching a house burn and we can't really do anything about it.
But they can do something about prevention. Warning, hurricane safety should include keeping lithium-ion batteries away from water. That's anything from small electronics, power tools, kids' toys, e-bikes and scooters, all the way up to electric vehicles.
Here's some power battery banks.
At Hillsborough County Solid Waste, they're seeing people toss batteries in with the regular trash, sparking big problems. In 3 years, they've had 30 fires, all caused by batteries.
Imagine being that driver, driving and see smoke come out the back of your truck. It's got to be pretty scary. So
he showed us what should be dropped off at community collection centers.
Power tool battery that has the terminals taped.
And how to pack them.
One of the first things I was noticing was the tape and the bags. What's the deal with that?
Because we don't want batteries to touching each other, because those exposed terminals, they can spark and that's how you can get a fire. So tape or separate, we like to say.
The level of safety goes up if the battery got wet or is damaged. That needs to go into a container filled with dirt or sand before you take it to the trash.
They're unpredictable and it can go like that hours, even days later.
What you do matters, since the risk is still there even after the storm has passed.
You can replace anything in that house. You can't replace the people in it.
Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Greg D. The National Hurricane Center has released the data, their forecasting accuracy for the 2025 season. This is really important because it helps us learn what we did right and the areas that we still need to improve on. It also gives us a nice look into the performance of the models and the ones that maybe we should pay more attention to in the coming hurricane season. So here are the details that they released. First, we'll look at track guidance. Each line here represents a specific hurricane model that the Hurricane Center issues. The dark blue line is the official Hurricane Center forecast. The lower the lines, the more accurate the forecast at 24, 48, 72, and 120 hours out. Notice the Hurricane Center is near the bottom, but it was not the best forecast last year. And that's unusual because it typically is. That pink line that dips below it, that's Google DeepMind. That model ended up outperforming the National Hurricane Center at 24, 36, 48, 72, and 96 hours, with the Hurricane Center only slightly better than Google DeepMind 5 days out. That's something important we'll need to watch as we go into this hurricane season. Now, what about intensity? 2025 was problematic is that there were many episodes of rapid intensification. That is very difficult to forecast. Now, just as it typically does, the Hurricane Center again was one of the better performers. In fact, the best performer, but it was tied with guess who? The same model. Google DeepMind did so much better than many of the hurricane models and actually basically paralleled the Hurricane Center in terms of storm intensity at 12, 24, 48, all the way out to 120 hours out. So this is a model that we're really going to have to pay attention to as we go into the 2026 season. Because of these improvements, every year the Hurricane Center adjusts their forecast cone and its size. It's been shrinking over the last 10 to 15 years, and there will be changes this year as well. Out 12 hours, 1 mile narrower. Once you get out to about 72 hours, 5 miles narrower. And the biggest change out 120 hours, the cone will now be 13 miles narrower, indicating a more precise forecast, something that we need to pay attention to. One more new thing that the Hurricane Center will be issuing, and those are updates to the cone and its representation on the National Hurricane Center website. Typically, you just see the cone and coastal watches and warnings. Well, starting this year, after testing this for the last couple of seasons, they will now include in the graphics the interior, the inland watches and warnings for tropical storm and hurricane activity. And that's from lessons learned. Storms like Helene and Milton in some cases caused as much disruption away from the coast as they did near the water. So they want to be able to get the word out that yes, the hurricane is going to impact the coast with surge, but just because you're not near the beaches doesn't mean you're safe. The hurricane can still bring strong winds, isolated tornadoes, and the threat of inland flooding.
Many of our neighbors unfortunately learned out the hard way. You have to double check your homeowner's insurance before a hurricane comes. After the break, we'll have all you need to know for this upcoming hurricane season.
I'm meteorologist Jason Adams. 2024 was a hurricane season like no other. Back-to-back hurricanes capped off what was an exceptional year for tropical systems here in Central Florida. Not only did we deal with the devastating storm surge from Helene, Milton brought the most wind damage to the area in decades, and Hurricane Debbie led to extreme freshwater flooding. All of this led to a pretty severe hit to our ecosystem. Tampa Bay and the Gulf suffered significant pollution from the destruction of the surges and the freshwater flooding over most of the area.
Hurricane Debbie that had significant freshwater inland flooding, which of course led to a lot of runoff, which has a lot of pollution getting into our waters. This was followed by Helene, which had extreme coastal storm surge for most of the coast, which then, of course, was quickly followed by Hurricane Milton that brought extreme storm surge as well as historic freshwater flooding from the excessive rainfall that we had. So all of that led to other stuff being in our waters.
For our friends at Tampa Bay Estuary Program, the damage to the waterways was severe.
As we saw an uptick in flesh-eating bacteria or Vibrio fulnificus. So that is something that creates really dangerous conditions for people. But then in the weeks that followed, what you really do see is with all of that rainwater, you see quite a bit of nutrient pollution being delivered to the bay and the coast, and that stimulates algae growth. And so we see a decline in water quality.
Just 1 year later, 2025 was one of the best hurricane seasons we've had in a decade here in Central Florida, as no systems made landfall in our area. That was exactly what the doctor ordered. It gave Mother Nature time to recover from all the damage that was done below the surface.
I mean, last year was really like the break that we needed. And that gave things like the mangroves, the marshes, and the seagrasses, all those habitats that sort of did take a hit in 2024, gave them a chance to, sort of hit another growing season and really, start to recover.
Looking ahead to 2026, how does the ecosystem look now, and how would it fare only 2 years later if another major system heads our way?
The ecosystem probably would have the capacity to respond, but we never really want that to be, the case. That's not what we hope for here as locals. We're always, hoping that nobody gets the big hit.
Here's hoping we never see another season like we did in 2024, and hope we never have to deal with back-to-back landfalling hurricanes ever again.
Though the 2026 hurricane season is here, many folks are still rebuilding after the devastating 2024 hurricane season. And there were so many insurance issues. Our anchor, Nadine Yanis, specializes in helping you deal with insurance issues and questions, and she has the latest on how you can be prepared this upcoming hurricane season.
I'm anchor Nadine Yanis. Back in December of 2024, I was standing in this exact spot, speaking to a homeowner relieved that that was the end of a horrific hurricane season. Well, now we are back. That homeowner reached back out to me because after he has survived this storm, he has tips now for you on how to prepare this hurricane season after he successfully was able to navigate his insurance claim.
We were upstairs videoing the water as the water was pouring in during Helene here.
This is Scott Morrison, just weeks after Hurricane Helene flooded the first floor of his 2-story Crystal Beach home.
Hardest thing I've ever dealt with. Yeah.
Nearly in tears.
Yeah, easily.
Knowing what he'd just gone through.
It's a lot of work. 56 years of work. You know, you lose a lot. Yeah.
But he never knew how much work it would take to get his insurance to make his home whole again.
Everything was lost down here in this room.
Now, a year and a half later, the walls are still exposed, originally denied on his FEMA flood insurance claim for any of the damages on the first floor of his home. It was designated in his policy as an elevated home, not a traditional two-story.
The monetary thing was just the final kick in the gut, that knowing and finding out that none of it was really going to be covered.
That was until he got an engineer's report to dispute it, and now he's getting a near full payout.
Go from $0 or a few $1,000s on the initial run through the government to $100,000, you know, plus in some of these claims now. So that's why I came back to you. I felt people should know.
So he emailed me to share with you what he learned.
So everybody needs to look at their insurance policies again. That's number one. Make sure you know how your coverage is set. Check with your insurance agent. Get it reviewed. Make sure the proper amendments and riders are on your policy so that you're covered upstairs and downstairs. More video rocking around. That's, I think, the obvious thing that I would suggest to people do. Document, document, document. And don't be afraid to stand up and push back and go, just because somebody denies you and sends you a denial letter and you're sitting going, this doesn't make sense, talk to somebody. You know, talk to somebody, whether it's a public adjuster or somebody to help you, or just push back on your insurance company.
So many of these tips are what we hear every year from insurance experts. Review your policy, document as much as you can, and if you can afford it, harden your home before the storm. Advising to start with a call to your insurance agent. But Scott said there's another weapon you can use in your fight for your claim, and it's at your fingertips.
If you don't have somebody to talk to, start with AI. I used it throughout this process of helping me keep track of the claim and getting my all of my information, replacement costs and stuff like that. Believe it or not, it understands the process if you ask it there.
Lessons learned for this hurricane survivor, now helping you prepare.
Think back to the Scott I met on December 2nd, 2024, and the Scott standing in front of me today.
Yeah, a lot stronger now, and having gone through all that, still frustrated with the whole process and how it went down.
I go in here and take a picture of every single thing.
Covering insurance for you, I'm anchor Nadine Yanis.
One of the toughest questions during hurricane season as a storm approaches, do I evacuate or don't I evacuate? What makes the most sense for your family? One local city is working with their residents to help them decide. That's coming up next. Should we stay or should we go? Whether or not to evacuate, probably the toughest decision to make when a storm is on the way. The city of Oldsmar is working with their residents to try to make that decision easier. Our Robert Boyd has the latest.
Well, Veterans Memorial Park is an appropriate place to sign the city of Oldsmar's pledge to evacuate because this park was under 3 feet of water during Hurricane Helene. Residents who live around here say you have to take evacuation orders seriously.
So on the weather stem, I was hooked into it online and I watched the entire water come through the park and go over and the trees swaying and going nuts.
Sisters Robin and Rhonda watched in real time as the bay consumed the park and neighborhood during Hurricane Helene.
Our property gets destroyed, everything gets destroyed. It's devastating when you come back, but you're alive.
Robin and Rhonda are among more than 70 Oldsmar residents to sign the city's pledge to evacuate.
I think it's important to sign the pledge because you commit to it. Once you put your signature on something, it's a commitment. And it gives you all the criteria of what you would need to do if you were to evacuate or if a storm came.
If you didn't evacuate, are you concerned what could have happened?
Oh, God, yes.
What do you think?
I don't like water. So.
Yet Oldsmar Fire Chief Jason Schwabe tells me there are about 35 people who had to be rescued during Hurricane Helene because they chose not to evacuate.
So rescues during storms can be extremely dangerous and sometimes impossible. If residents do stay, they could be on their own for an extended period of time and cut off from emergency services access. So it's important for residents to evacuate when they're told so that they're not putting themselves and their family in that dangerous situation.
See over there, Rob?
Robin and Rhonda say when you live near the water, there is a sense of responsibility. This pledge holds residents accountable.
You know, we have first responders, and their lives are just as important as our lives or our families' lives. You should not put them in jeopardy. And when you're calling and you can't get anybody to come to your house because you're sitting in 3 feet of water or whatever, it's not fair to them either. We signed the pledge.
The city tells me every pledge signed is like forming a new partnership in the community.
Our focus is just getting the word out, to have a preparedness plan in place, and to get evacuation on people's minds so that they do evacuate when it's necessary.
For more information on the pledge to evacuate, go to oldsmarstrong.com.
There is nothing more important to our team of meteorologists to help keep you and your family safe this upcoming hurricane season. And whether or not we're updating you on social media or on our streaming platform or on Dennis Phillips Live, we will be there for you 24/7 before, during, and after a hurricane comes to the Bay Area. We got your back. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.